is good, Defenders Nation, LAFC faithful, and welcome. We continue the Ocho, Season 8 of the most LAFC podcast that your ears will hear today. That's right. This is Defenders of the Bank, and we are back to talk about our first ever road match at BMO. That's right, LAFC. Able to get the win in a road match at home. Don't worry, we'll explain, because if you were there, my goodness, you saw La Monumental. You saw the Águilas supported very, very well in our home stadium for an international friendly. But first, let's go over the introductions. You know my voice. It's the Scarf. J.R. Liebert, live from Lawndale. And of course, sitting across the interwebs from me in world-famous Philomonster Studios, I give you one Christian Philly Philemon.
How the hell did we make it to 8? Season 8? Are we really at season 8?
I love it.
The time flies, man. I mean, you go back and look at some of those photos of us back in 2018. We were a lot less grayer, probably a little thinner. In your case, a little less beat up. Now, look, people are going to ask. Ben already referred to it, holy punching bag Batman.
Yes, sir.
I think we do need to address the silver-backed gorilla that's in the room.
This guy.
Yeah, and no, Defenders, I didn't beat him up. No, there wasn't an argument with Hello Kitty. No, the plush animal known as Fred did not do this to Scarf. Scarf, why don't you let the millions know exactly what's going on?
Yeah, so this was a standing doctor's appointment. They found a little spot right under here that looked a little problematic. So when they tested it, yes, unfortunately, it came back positive. So what was it? 2 days ago? Yesterday. Dear God, it was yesterday. Yesterday at about 8:30 in the morning, I had a little spot removed from under my eye. They got it all stitched up and everything. By about 9:30, I was done and out of there. And by 11:20, I was teaching Latin to middle schoolers. And then, of course, at BMO for the match. So luckily, here's the good part, y'all. And again, for all of you that I ran into at BMO, thank you for asking. And for all of you guys in the chat, I love you guys. Thank you for your concern as well. The best part is they got every single bit of it. All the tests came back clean after the sample got back to the lab and everything. So we are good to go. I'm having a cool little scar here, they said. And I said, luckily, the face is not the moneymaker. So we're good. It's the voice. So I'll do with it what I must. But all good. It was not Philly. For all of you thinking that Philly's MMA background contributed to this. No, we're all good.
No, we're definitely all good. Now that you've explained to everybody exactly how and why you have that bandage, you can report the real reason. You had somebody who said they had more scarves than you, and you took offense to it. So needless to say, you went in to the old Italian, fisticuffs. And, you got into it with somebody who said they're actually the scarf. And you were like, I'm the scarf, and then it got to that.
Like I said earlier, you should see the bear. I mean, I beat him up pretty good. So, it doesn't feel great. But I'll say this. Yesterday, I think, was the worst of it, because today I feel okay. Full day at work, everything else. So,
And to think, Scarf, on Saturday and Sunday, you and I will both be on national TV. And you're going to have something cool to talk about. Yes, folks. Scarf and I are calling college basketball on ESPN Plus together on Saturday, and then we're calling MASL on CBS Sports Golazo on Sunday. So Scarf and I got a lot of TV time, so you picked a great week to get this done.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. But I'll say this. I won't have this, hopefully, for the broadcast. This is only for the first 2 days. It is a pressure bandage, and it doesn't feel great. But either way.
Well, if you've ever wondered what you look like with makeup, that's probably as close as you're going to get, because you don't strike me as the kind of guy who would use guy liner anytime soon.
No, definitely not doing that. Bam. Again, it wasn't Philly. It was some wayward cells that needed to go elsewhere. That's for sure.
Those wayward cells were not called Phillies.
But yeah, man, look, we're definitely going to get into the preseason friendly, the 2-1 victory at BMO Stadium. And then we're going to talk a little bit about news and notes. You guys know what we like to do, a little this day in LAFC history. We will talk about the new kit. I think it's safe to say that Philly and I might fall on two different sides of the fence.
Oh, yes.
But we'll get into that in a little bit too, you guys. And look, I do want to say something real quick, Philly. In our chat, it's already
When
kind
do
of
you don't?
it's a heated topic already in our chat right now. The Club America supporters versus an LAFC supporters and all of that. Look, LAFC has been around now. This is our 8th season. Club America has been around for quite some time. And we know many of you out there listening, many of you out there that attend our matches, many of you out there who support LAFC, many of you out there who stand in the 32-52 for the entire match week after week are likely many of you, Club America supporters. So for those of you that were in the South End with La Monumental instead of in the North End with the 32-52, hey, this is a preseason friendly. Hope you got all that out, because when it comes to winning Leagues Cup and when it comes to beating Club America at home in a match that matters, I really hope that you guys are all in your black and gold rather than your Liga MX kits. But for that match, you know what? Cheer whoever you want to cheer for. Season starts in just a little bit, but a lot of the supporters out there, you guys, a lot of the supporters are Club America supporters just as much as they are LAFC supporters.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And obviously I don't say anything, negative about that. But I'll tell you this, because I thought about this, long and hard in the event that we would get a friendly against, one of my favorite teams. I'll say this, regardless of who I grew up with and who I loved. And again, I'm not throwing shade at anybody. This is me personally. At this point, I think I've been to more LAFC games than any other team that I've ever followed. Maybe not the Mets yet, but I've never seen a football club more consistently and frequently like LAFC. So to me, despite the fact that I grew up with, the international clubs like everybody else did, got to tell you, if my favorite team rolled into BMO Stadium, I wouldn't think twice. And that's just me, because I've just developed more of a bond and a connection with this club. I remember having a conversation a couple seasons ago with our buddy Juice from Cuervos. Yeah. And we were talking about the same thing, that now with everything that we've, done and had, and the experiences we've had, the relationships we've created, to me, LAFC is the most important team out of any of the teams that I've supported, just because of like how close it's just different, man. Like, I know you're a Lakers fan. I know the teams you like. You and I are both Met fans. The fact of the matter is, you and I are nowhere near the Mets the same way we are with LAFC. So for me, this club hits different. When I was in England in August, and we were taking the tours of Stamford Bridge and Craven Cottage and Tottenham's new digs, when they asked us, they went all around, who's your favorite club? People were like, oh, Manchester City. Oh, Real Madrid. I can't even get to tell you the amount of times I heard Real Madrid. They rolled up to me, and I said LAFC. And I got a laugh from everybody. They're like, the MLS club? Like, yeah, that's my favorite club in the whole world. And I wasn't going to go into it because I was there for a tour. But in the back of my mind, I can't imagine that many of these people that support those other teams have ever had the connection, the emotions, the joys, the relationships that we've all developed here organically at LAFC.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and this is Scarf speaking here, that was just Philly, I don't have to make that choice. I did not grow up a supporter of a European team, a Liga MX team, a South American team, a whomever, right? I grew up knowing and supporting the U.S. men's national team a little bit, mainly the Azzurri, the Italian national team. But honestly, for me, I don't have to make that choice. There's no other choice. It's LAFC, right? So for all of you out there, you're going to have to maybe educate me a little bit better. I know the way Philly feels and the way that I feel. And part of it has to do with access, right? Like, we've seen this club in tears after a defeat, and we've seen this club in tears after a victory. in ways that we could never imagine ever getting that close to some of our favorite clubs before. So it's a little bit different, right? And I guess, a lot of it might have to do with who many of your respective parents, especially many of your respective dads, used to root for, right? And you have those memories of growing up and doing things with them. That could play a huge role into all of this stuff. And look, all we're saying here at Defenders, we get it. We respect. But I do kind of agree at the end of the day, Alexander, it was so funny. I was just about to say that. Alexander in the chat said, if you're not for us, you're against us. I agree moving forward, now that the season is starting, now that we have a chance to take home some trophies, now that we have a chance to make our everyone in the chat is giving me a hard time. And yeah, now that we have a chance to make our mark on the international stage, Leagues Cup, obviously, now that we have a chance to win CONCACAF Champions Cup, it's time to back the crest, you guys. We don't care who's in the uniform. We care about the crest. And Philly, on that note, let's just get into real quick. First, wait, time.
Squirrel, what? Where? Who?
Time. This day in LAFC history, if you're watching and listening to this episode today, it is February 12th. Philly, we are so incredibly blessed at LAFC to have a boatload of incredibly talented media people. But I have to say, for me, it's the old schoolest of the old schoolest, the OG, the man who was there before anybody else doing what he is doing. And it's his birthday today.
Oh, yeah, I knew where you're going.
Happy birthday to Imad, our team photographer. We have a lot of great team photographers, and I know many of you listen to this, and we love you all incredibly, but the godfather himself is Imad, and it's his birthday today, and we at Defenders want to wish a very, very happy birthday to Imad, our team photographer.
100%. We've known Imad for quite some time, and the Godfather. It's funny that you refer to him as such. And FTG, because we are a little family friendly. Yeah, no problem. I'll happily do that. He takes such brilliant photos. Even last night's Instagram photo of Nathan Ordaz scoring the goal, jumping in the air, and you can see, I believe it was Kota, Club America's keeper, walking in the distance, feeling dejected. I mean, I don't understand photography the way somebody who does it will. I don't have an eye for these kinds of things, but I can appreciate an incredible photo, and everything that Imad's done has been freaking gold. Everything. Yeah. The man is so incredibly talented that I'm just blown away anytime I see his work. And stuff like that we kind of take for granted. We see all these dope Instagram posts and all that other stuff. We click the like. We might make a comment on it, but it takes real talent to capture the shots that he does. Also, having a good camera helps too. But even if I had the best camera in the world, I would still be mierda when it comes to taking photos. Selfies, the same thing.
No, and it's those little things, right? Like you and I were talking, and I pointed out last night in the press conference, like, dude, but look, Imad got the keeper in the background, just kind of walking away. It's those little things, right? Like, you know where the ball is going. You can point and shoot at wherever the ball is. But Imad is just different. And I'm calling on LAFC, by the way. LAFC, you got 2 years to get this done, but we got to make this happen. For the 10th anniversary of us playing on the pitch, for season 10 on the pitch, we got to come out with like a coffee table book of all of Imad and our other photographers' best photos LAFC told in 10 years in photos. I think it would be incredible. We got to make that happen, LAFC.
Oh, I love that idea. And since we're just giving shout out to the staff at LAFC, it was great to see a lot of y'all. We got to hang out with Max in the booth, and I can't wait to share the comment of the day once we get into the game recap. It's about Scarf's old favorite player, Brian, riding on the I can't still score goals on easy situations, Brian. But you talk about the pitch. The pitch looks splendid last night. And one person that doesn't get the credit that he deserves is Gage Knudsen. Look him up on Instagram, Defenders. Knudsen.Gage. He is basically I want to say, I don't know what you call him, the pitch man, you don't call him a lawn care specialist. You know what I'm saying? Like, he takes care of that pitch. He's in charge of that. It looked phenomenal. We know we've seen the pitch at BMO Stadium a little rough after concerts and whatnot, but it was sparkling. It looked hella nice last night. Hella nice. That's more of a San Francisco thing. I don't even know why.
Are you from NorCal?
Nah, man, that's even weird how that one came out. They were hanging out with Scott French too much. He was wearing that San Francisco Giants hat during the groundskeeper. Thank you, Mikey. Good Lord, I'm getting old and forgetting things, but he is incredible. Knutson.Gage, follow him on Instagram. And if you ever see him, give him a high five, because it's not easy work keeping that pitch the way it is, in particular after we have concerts and things that, obviously pay for the stadium. But, our pitch gets pretty rough, and he does a hell of a job maintaining it, and it looked great and lush.
Absolutely. Gage, thank you. And to your whole crew, thank you. I do want to mention, by the way, since we're talking about news and notes, we're going to get into this a lot more as it gets closer. But our Leagues Cup group schedule was announced, and all 3 of these matches will be played at BMO. July 29th versus Mazatlan FC. Mazatlan, I believe, was the team that took the spot of Monarcas in Liga MX. August 1st against Pachuca and August 5th against Tigres. That is a fun group schedule that we have there. The 3 Liga MX teams. We're going to do whole getting to know you episodes and the whole thing on Leagues Cup. I mean, that's not till July. We're just trying to get through February. But we did want to mention that group schedule was announced. And again, July 29th versus Mazatlan FC. August 1st against Pachuca, and August 5th against Tigres. All of those will be at BMO Stadium. So maybe they'll come out with split scarves like they did for
Actually, let me take a look at that. I didn't see the 50-50.
Yeah, here's are we upside or right side up? Here you go. It's nice. And it's got the crest here, and it's got the crest here. It's a very, and it's Roughneck. We love our friends over at Roughneck. Roughneck scarves, wonderfully done. So yeah, man. All right, let's
the over and under. We should have this. Genuine Cougar. I know you're a betting individual. What do you think we have? And actually, anybody in the chat that wants to time in, whether it's here or on IG, the over and under on how much Scarf has spent on scarves coming in to our 8th season podcasting. I would love to get what people would think the high or low on that. And then
I don't want to know that. Like, I'm going to throw up when I find out that number.
No, what you probably are, because I'm willing to say you could have bought a new car, maybe put a down payment on a condo, and these aren't crazy figures. I mean, you typically buy 5 of the same scarves at times, whether you sell them or collect them. I don't know, but
not anymore. Bam, that's not even close.
Oh, geez. No, that was like season
Oscar,
1.
I love Oscar just said over.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of which, Oso's looking good, man. Did you see him the other day? I saw him on Instagram. He's got himself an LAFC kid, too. Whatever you're doing, buddy. I need some of those secrets, too, because I'm not necessarily feeling young and spry these days.
I only saw half of him. I didn't see the rest of him. Did the rest of them ever arrive? I don't think he did. He looks fantastic. Also, I love you, buddy.
Bam's saying 1,500 per game. Yeah, I think I'd be. Maybe you remove one. Maybe you remove the 1.
Look,
or turn the 5 into a 0.
I'll say this: the last 2 games that we went to at BMO Stadium, last year's playoff game, where they came out with 4 scarves on the last day. They came out with a Matty Bogusz scarf. They came out with an Olivier Giroud scarf. They came out with a Denis Bouanga scarf, and they came out with another Carlos Vela scarf. They came out with 4 scarves on the last day last year. And then this year, I get to BMO Stadium for the match yesterday. And in addition to this, now, LAFC, y'all are the worst. You used to do 1 kit launch scarf. And it used to have like the kit on it with a little picture and the date and everything else. They came out with Philly, not 1, not 2, but 3 different kit launch scarves. So the last 2 times I have been at BMO Stadium, I've purchased 8 scarves total. 8 scarves.
Wait, hold on. The last 2 times?
Yeah, total, right? So between last match and this match, if scarves are like $40 each, let's just say,
You're spending
that's
$320 easy.
just on those two games. I hate that. Why couldn't I be LAFC the sock?
Why
Or
couldn't
like
no,
LAFC
you'd be no, you'd be better off for all of us if you were LAFC the Bitcoin.
I should just start collecting them.
Or LAFC the Dogecoin.
Oh
Either way, yes, you spend a tremendous amount on scarves. And by the way, I don't like those face scarves. I mean, I can't fit all my scarves there. And granted, I don't have as many
I
as you do.
can't
I have
do
a fair
anything
amount.
about
I don't
this.
like the idea of Carlos Vela staring at the back of my head. I just don't like it. I don't know. I don't. I wouldn't go to a concert and buy a band T-shirt where all their faces are on it. I don't know. It's just weird to me. That's just me. It's my thing. It's odd.
That is a little weird, but that's okay. Mario, not wrong. All right. Real quick, let's get into a couple of other bits of news and notes, and then we will get into what we saw against Club America. We're not going to do a minute-by-minute breakdown because, first of all, that first half was pretty unwatchable from both sides, although Club America certainly dominated the first half, but we'll get to that in a minute. Speaking of things that were a little tough to watch, but kind of gave us a little bit of insight, Philly, the preseason, the Coachella Valley Invitational match against the Chicago Fire. Denis Bouanga's penalty kick goal gave us a 1-0 win in the desert. We had Chris Lafferty on location, our Defenders correspondent, where he interviewed Marquis Delgado, and he got to there's a fun story that we'll have to have Chris tell on the pod about how he was the team hydration specialist towards the
yeah, I heard that story
for Hugo Lloris. So thank you for that, Chris.
It was
a win in the desert, and it was like 90 degrees. So there is that. And then the day before or a couple days before, we scored 4 goals against Phoenix Rising, which is all great, even though everything was closed doored. But the one thing to take away from that match, Philly, against Chicago Fire, is the lineup that we rolled out against the Chicago Fire on February 5th was exactly the same lineup that we rolled out against Club America. We're going to talk
starter vibes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what that might mean for sure as we break down the Club America match. A couple other pieces of news, right, Philly? We had Lewis O'Brien, the hope, the dream. We would love to have had him back in black and gold in some sort of loan or even a buy capacity.
I don't know about the dream.
I mean, that would have been great. I would have loved Lewis.
Sure, the dream makes us feel like we're fantasizing about having Lewis O'Brien. I'm not fantasizing about Lewis O'Brien.
I loved the way
you love everybody. Everybody's the nicest person you've ever met. You're the lover. I'm the angry one.
Okay, I'll take it. Lewis O'Brien officially joining Swansea City on loan from Nottingham Forest. So there's that. And then Philly, the one that you and I kind of had to digest a little bit over the last couple of days. I was kind of bothered when Diego Rossi went to the Crew. I was kind of bothered when Chicho Arango went to Salt Lake. I don't really care that Christian Ramirez is going to Galaxy. But Philly,
yeah, I do, and I'll tell you why in a moment.
Orlando for Edward Atuesta.
No. You cannot feel anything about this. Defenders, somebody in the chat back me up. Scarf was riding the I'm mad at Edward Atuesta bandwagon the entire season. Yeah. And now you're telling me that you're upset that he's in Orlando? Look, I liked Edward Atuesta. I was about Edward Atuesta. If anybody should feel upset, it would be me. You might still be mad at him because him and Eddie Segura almost took your hands off while you were playing goalkeeper for them at Toyota Arena many blue moons ago. But you can't tell me in this moment, look me in the eye of this camera lens. Ooh, there we get a good close-up of the makeup Scarf has. You were against Edward Atuesta all season long. Now it's odd. I don't get it.
What I'm saying is I didn't want to see him back in MLS. I'm shocked that he's with Orlando because this is a guy that was playing with Palmeiras for quite some time. Now he didn't.
I'd rather play in Brazil than Orlando.
That's what I'm saying. Dave, we're going to get to that too in just a second. But no, I was just shocked that, and of course we don't play Orlando, at least on our regular season schedule so far this year. We do play obviously San Jose, so we'll get to see Chicho Arango. We don't play Columbus, so we won't get to see Diego Rossi. But there will be plenty of other LAFC or former LAFC players. Oh, and I do want to give a quick shout out. Yes, Philly has his hand up.
Well, go ahead and give your shout out, then I'll give my thought.
Yeah, quick shout out to Cal Jennings going over to Charleston Battery.
Yeah, that's an up. Well, I mean, he played at Tampa Bay.
Sure. No, he has his pick, right? He had 15 goals in USL last year.
Yeah, 19 he was
goals. 19 goals the year before. And look, Tom Bogert called him a favorite for the Golden Boot in USL. So good on Cal Jennings.
Yeah. The only thing I was going to say, Christian Ramirez going to the Galaxy. Yes. I'll tell you why I like this trade, not trade, Scarf. I'll tell you why I like this deal.
Yeah.
Because the minute we play the Galaxy and Christian Ramirez is in front of net, we know exactly what he's going to do. Not score or be a false nine. So you know what? Let him keep Christian Ramirez. I feel bad because he angered me towards the end of his career just because we protected him, and he missed sitters that takes talent to miss.
Yeah.
So let the Galaxy have him. I don't care. I won't boo him. I won't honestly think anything otherwise. If we got to chat with him in the hallway, I'd say, "Hey man, how you doing? Congrats on coming back home." That's it. I don't care. I don't think I've ever been more apathetic towards any of our own going to the Galaxy. And of course, we've had Nico Hamalainen, Raheem Edwards. I didn't like him when he was on LAFC. Obviously, John McCarthy. I love J-Mac. Still love J-Mac. Yeah. All right. Anyways, I digest. Let's move on.
Yeah, there you go. Last little bit. Kike Oliveira. The rumor has become pretty substantiated, right? Tom Bogert tweeted out.
Official.
Yeah, tweeted out tonight that he is likely headed to Grêmio. Grêmio in Brazil, which is a good move.
Is it? They finished in like 14th place last year.
That's okay. You know what? I'm fine with him languishing in the bottom of the table in Brazil because I don't like the way he exited. I don't like how immature he was. I don't like how he tried to force our hand. And I think, number one, the deal is $4.5 million or so with, according to Tom Bogert, a huge sell-on afterwards, which I think is great because if you're looking at the numbers, I think we signed him for something around 4 million, like 3 or 4 million. And so we're getting 4.5 million for him. It's not the profit that we would have expected, but we also expected Kike Oliveira to play really well for us this season and then to be able to sell him personally to a very good club in a very good situation. And he has since immatured his way right out of that. And I know immaturing is not a verb, but he did it. He immatured his way right out of that. So the fact that we get a percentage of a sell-on, for me, that's pretty cool. Mikey is saying, I didn't know this, Philly. Did you see that? He already put on his Instagram that he's a Grêmio player. I won't finish the rest of Mikey's sentiment, but I share it with him. I loved Kike Oliveira for the time that he was here, and I'm really bummed at the way he decided to burn a few bridges and get out of town.
Somebody in the chat who knows Portuguese, tell me how to say F you in Portuguese so I could tweet that right back at Kike. I don't think it's so much a matter of his immaturity. You and I have been in the press conference with him on several occasions. Great football player.
Yeah.
Not going to say that he was the most cerebral of people, just to put it as nicely as I can. This would be more on his agent than on him for giving him advice. And it put him into a pretty crap situation because had he come back here, I'm sorry, I wouldn't have stood on my seat to cheer for him. In fact, if he got into a game and started, which he obviously wasn't in the lineup or on the 18 yesterday, probably would have booed far more than anything else. So yes, his agent is more responsible for the departure than him. And look, I get it. He had a breakout year, got to spend some time with the Uruguayan national team. I don't think this is a great move for his career. Not to say anything ill about Grêmio, but you're going to a team that finished pretty low. And obviously they brought him in thinking that that's going to help. But I think you have more visibility with your national club if you're competing for trophies as opposed to just competing. Anyways.
Mario helped you out there in the chat. I highlighted it for you, Philly. Look.
Excellent.
Jay Gutierrez, you got to listen to the first part of the pod, but Philly didn't hit me.
Hello Kitty effed him up.
But
Mr. Scarf said he didn't like my attire. He told me I needed to change.
Well, why am I saying this? She's not even here. Never
I was
mind.
gonna say, what is happening right now? No, look, I hope he does really, really well at Gremio because the sell-on is going to be even better for our club. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. Screw him. Let him make money. Let us make money. Good.
And last thing, Philly and I don't have any more information about Carlos Vela. We have no idea.
No.
I've tried. I've asked a couple people. Nothing. No idea.
So. Yeah, it's truly the strangest saga that I've ever witnessed in terms of any kind of sports fandom. I mean, he went an entire season pretty much without signing, and then he signs, and then he played all of the time it takes for me and you to do a shoey. Well, for you, actually, if it was retiring a shoey, he'd have played for like half a season. But you get the point. And then mysteriously vanishes. But that mysteriously wasn't so mysteriously because it turns out that he got hurt. And that's why that's the story. That's the story we heard. Obviously, I'm not going to confirm or deny any of that, but still the strangest saga ever. Until you see that part of our history thing, nothing is off the table with Carlos. My thought process is he'll still be used as that bargaining chip to try to bring in Antoine. Hell, Antoine even gave him a shout out while he was seen at the Super Bowl recently. So maybe they ride off into the sunset, play a couple more games together before he officially calls it a day. But he was at a press conference, like doing stuff with DoorDash just recently. Was it
Postmates or DoorDash or one of those two?
DoorDash.
Yeah. Look, we both firmly believe that Vela is going to be involved with the team in some way, shape, and form. But I don't know, because my thing is unfortunately, he lost his house, right? That he was renting, or maybe he owned it. I don't know, in the Palisades fire. And maybe that has him rethinking if he wants to stay in LA or not. Although the Lakers just got Luka Doncic, and we know he's a massive Lakers fan. So maybe that helps him want to stay. I don't know. It's hard, right? Because what we've talked about Philly time and time again is how much of an enigma Carlos Vela has been throughout his entire soccer career. I mean, he was once compared to having the talents, the likes of Messi. But we always know what we've known about Carlos Vela. He treats soccer almost as a 9-to-5, right? It's a job for him. And damn, was he great at his job for years and years and years. But I think, I'm just interested to see how the club positions itself with Carlos Vela. And the bottom line is, announce the statue already. Let's give Carlos Vela his flowers. Let's carry him around on our shoulders throughout the stadium, and we'll go from there. So,
give it a little more time than just to crown. To look, at the end of the day, it's just going to be a pigeon sanctuary, and it's going to be covered in poop. We can wait a little while before a Carlos statue.
Oh, he deserves it. Quick, someone's asking for news on Odin Thiago Holm. He got hurt either at training or friendly. He's been on crutches. So he's not healthy and is still maybe 3 to 4 weeks away, maybe is what we've heard. Maxime Chanot, who actually, we'll talk about those guys in a bit.
Yeah.
Really, the thing that I wanted to make sure we got to before we talked about Club America, though.
We've only talked about 33 minutes. Are you sure there's something that we haven't covered?
Last thing, I promise. You're on one side and I'm on the other.
Oh, you don't want to save this for when we're actually going to do? Okay, that's fine. All right, we
might as well.
Okay. All right, defenders, it's fun times. It's polarizing times.
I love the new kit. Now, the two things I don't like about the new kit. Let me say the two things I don't like first, and then I'll tell you all the things I do like. Thing number one, this is a me problem here. Me problem. The kit is slim fit. If you've met Scarf, he is not slim fit. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is that I work with kids for a living and I'm a disaster. So I don't wear white. White gets dirty. I can't wear white. That being said, I love the kit. I really do. Some people are already calling it. Yeah, I've seen the white Power Ranger kit was a cool one. I kind of like that name for it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that too.
And it all comes down to this. The collar means I can wear it to like work functions and stuff. Although I wear my kits to work anyway, so that's fine. But I love the kit. I like the the little design on the collar that kind of looks like laurels. I really like the LA Fire Department patches that were on for the Club America game. I just think the kit looks really clean, and it comes on the back of my real issue. I think why I like this kit so much more is because I really didn't like the smokescreen kit. That's me. I did not like the smokescreen kit. So I think us getting back to a white, a gold away kit is fantastic. And I don't understand why the authentic only has like a half collar, but the replica has like a full collar. So I'm going to be buying a replica so that I can wear it to work. Also because it's a lot cheaper probably. But that being said, I like the new kit. And now I'm going to get out of the way because Philly's going to tell you his side.
I'll tell you what I like about the white kit first. And I do feel like the powers that be, unless it's just because it got launched today. I'm looking at MLSstore.com. The authentic costs $149.99. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is cheaper than what it was last season by quite a bit. The replica is $99.99, which once again, correct me if I'm wrong, but significantly cheaper than last year.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. That's about where it stops for me. And for anybody within the club that took part in designing this.
Yeah, this is Philly speaking.
I don't mean, yes, this is not a Defenders of the Bank collective sentiment. It's mine. I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody who created things because Lord knows I don't have that kind of skill in my arsenal of things that I do. But this right here is my least favorite white kit out of all of LAFC's kits. I will take the smoke screen over this kit. I will take the TV static over this kit. I will take anything that we've produced over this kit. I hate collars on kits unless they're baggy and from the 90s. That's where it ends with me. I know there's the amazing image of my favorite footballer of all time, Eric Cantona, scoring the goal from United. You can see him kind of doing the 360, wearing his United kit, and he's got the collar, and that looks kind of cool. But that's it. That's it. I am not a fan of this kit at all. I feel like it would have been a bit better had it not had the collar. But even from there, I don't feel like it has enough flair and pizzazz. The smokescreen, a very polarizing kit, but there was a bit to it. The TV static one, a bit to it. Obviously, to me, nothing's going to be more classic than the original white inaugural season kit. I don't like this one. I don't like collars. I bought in / sold out. I work for a corporate company from my 9 to 5. I'm wearing a collared shirt all the time. The only time I don't mind wearing collared shirts is when we broadcast, mainly because I love broadcasting. I hate my job. I do. My other career, I hate it. And hopefully, by the way, if y'all are listening to it, which I know you have been lately, I don't hate it that much. Still need the job. Still need the money. But I don't like collars on kits. If I have to wear them for work, let's put it this way. If I'm going to get buried or cremated wearing a collared shirt, I don't want to walk around living in one if I'm not at work or dead.
I mean, all right, I hear you. But here's why I like the collar. First of all, I don't like the half collar, right? On the Authentics, I like the full collar. But if you look at the template that was used, right? I think there were 3 or 4 other clubs around the world that are kind of using that template this year. The biggest one, obviously, being Cristiano Ronaldo's club that is using it in the Saudi League, right? That's the big one. It's the same template. It's the same gold. It's the same everything. But because we have the collar, I think it actually stands out a little bit. It gives it a little bit of an old school flair. It gives it a nice touch. It
gives me Green Street Hooligan vibes. You put a little chain underneath there. You get your sneakers, your Stone Island jacket. It makes me think like, you're part of the ICF and you're about to go out there and fight the lads from Millwall. Like that's what it rings to me.
I mean, look, it gives to me. It makes us look really clean on the road. I think that's a big thing.
It's a great way to put it, considering you get that kid hell. There it is, crazy dirty.
No, for sure. But my problem is, Philly, if I am watching an LAFC match and they're on the road and I'm in the smokescreen kit, which was the last 2 years, number one, I got to make sure we're not playing on grass that looks like it's the exact same color. And number two, when you think of LAFC, you think of the black and you think of the gold. And I think that when we got away from that colorway, who was it? Matthew Juarez, right? I'll put his comment up here. You were absolutely right. The smokescreen would have been a great third kit, right?
Yeah, I'd buy that.
Different. Yeah. I'm all for that. And then I probably would have liked it a lot more because sure, there you go. But I really think that it took away a little bit of our brand identity as we went on the road. I really missed it. It was also weird to see us in road kits at BMO Stadium, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. And Bam is correcting you. It's apparently Figueroa Street hooligans.
Brilliant. Bam, LAFC Australia is going to be in town in a few weeks, and I can't wait to hoist a pint with him. It's going to be great.
It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So we got to everything except the match against Club America. Philly, let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's talk about
There's no Band-Aid. You rip a Band-Aid off when you've got a scar. There's no scar. The only thing that was scarring or maybe jarring, as the name of the episode implies, road match. I never heard LAFC get booed so loudly in BMO Stadium. That was jarring, but that's the only thing that I would say really required a Band-Aid. It's kind of odd. In our point of view, in the press box, we're above the south end. Yeah. And obviously the city view and all that other stuff. And Club America supporters, they were loud. But despite how close we were to them and how sound travels, we heard the 32-52 very clear, and they were just as loud. If we were to guess, what would you say? 55-45 Club America to LAFC supporters? More 50-50? I wouldn't say more than 6. Definitely not more than 60.
I would say actually at least 60-40.
Really? I don't know. I think maybe 55-45.
Well, but I'll say this. In typical LA fashion, right? I felt like as everybody filled out the stadium, because it was a pretty full stadium last night. It wasn't sold out, but it was pretty full. As it filled in, there was a lot less yellow than there was at, I would say, kickoff, right? And we were looking around, and 20 minutes before kickoff, and there were still throngs of people trying to get in. All the 32-52 was ready to roll, and the 32-52 was excellent last night. I mean, they really showed up and showed out. But we were right underneath the south end, and all around the stadium, there were a lot more yellow jerseys at
above the south end.
Isn't that what I said?
You said underneath.
Oh, we were above the south end. Excuse me. But that being said, it was the big difference, Philly, was the goal. The one goal scored by Club America was the loudest that the stadium was all night. It was a marked difference from when Denis Bouanga scored. And look, I think part of the problem with why that was, Philly, is Denis Bouanga scored at the 45-22 mark, I think. Yeah. So a lot of people were still out at concessions. A lot of people were still grabbing their beer in line. A lot of people were still away.
Including yourself. Well, by the way, that was the joke up in the press box that LAFC started scoring when you and Max Brados were out of the press box.
I was down in Founders watching it with a couple people that we know. I just kind of roamed over to Founders for a little bit, was hanging out there.
So Shout out to Alondra, by the way, who brought us empanadas and ice cream.
Yes. Oh, love you so much. But honestly, I saw the goal, which was nice. Which surprised the heck out of me because it was a really bad turnover. We'll talk about that in a second.
But I think a lot of was the result of a really bad turnover.
I think a lot of LAFC supporters were maybe getting a scarf or were maybe getting some food or something. So I thought that was kind of unfortunate. The Nathan Ordaz goal, I thought the stadium was nice and loud. And by the way, super happy for him. We'll get to that in a second. But again, it felt like a road match for so many reasons, but especially how loud it got in the 63rd minute when they scored. And I'm watching our club in our road kits. That was just so weird at BMO. But either way, it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, you said we're not going to talk minute by minute, but there are a couple things that stood out to me, and I laughed my tail off. You said there was nothing to talk about within the first half, and you're right. But the first half was when we got to see Brian Rodriguez, your favorite player that you came up with the song for. I never actually released the Denis Bouanga song I created to the tune of Phil Collins' Easy Lover. I need to release that.
You know what? You and I both have an unreleased song.
We do. What do you mean?
I did a Diego Rossi one too. To the
Oh,
tune
good
of,
God. He's only been out of LAFC for like 5,000 years.
well, no, but
All
that was kind of what it was about. But either way, go on.
Okay. All right. So Brian, I remember one point in the first half. So it's me, you, and Max. And Brian missed a wide open shot. We were lucky that Club America didn't pounce on us because they had the better looks. I think they had 7 shots to our 5, only one of them on target. We were lucky that they had Star Wars Stormtrooper accuracy. Brian Rodriguez obviously being one of those players. And after Brian missed, Max goes, oh, same old Brian. It's just like a Max Brados kind of a tone. I lost it. I laughed so hard. And he's right. Same old Brian, wide open, completely missing. That to me was the highlight of the first half.
Yeah, no, look, the first half was pretty boring. I was excited to see Victor Davila. I was excited to see Alejandro Zendejas, who's got U.S. men's national team experience.
And I think we were in talks to possibly bring him too to LAFC.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, number 7, Brian Rodriguez.
Interesting.
That was the player who we all were obviously most excited, most everything to see. Look, they had a ton of people in their 18. We had a ton of people in our 18. Real quick, though, I do want to talk about the starting lineup for LAFC, right, Philly? Do you have your rundown of the starting lineup or no? Do you have it in front of you? Because I have it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Philly's got it. Philly, that's your gig, so I don't want to take it away from you. If you wouldn't mind, give us the starting lineup because, like we talked about, it was the same starting lineup against Chicago out in Coachella Valley as we had here. So here's our.
Says he doesn't want to take my gig away from me yet. The thing I was going to start with, he took the words right out of my mouth. All right, less crap for me to say. No worries. In between the sticks, Hugo Lloris, who, God, in the second half there was some really sweat-inducing moments. That's for sure. Sergi Palencia, Eddie Segura wearing the captain's armband, Aaron Long, Ryan Hollingshead. I mean, I would say I don't want to say other than Eddie Segura, but that seemed pretty consistent. Igor Jesus, by the way, who to me is going to be the next coming of Jesus David Murillo in terms of yellow card accumulation. Mark Delgado, who I can't wait till we talk about the post game with him. Timothy Tillman, Denis Bouanga, David Martinez, who didn't exactly have a great half, and then Olivier Giroud, who the best thing that he did was get out of the way so we can score a goal. That was the starting lineup for LAFC. On our bench, we had Thomas Hasal, Lawal Hasal. We welcome back Lorenzo Della Valle, coming back from that ACL injury. Jeremy Abobasi, David Ochoa, Yaya Boa, Nathan Ordaz, Adam Saldana, Kenny Nielsen, DeCarlo Guerrera, Matt Evans, Adrian Wabowo, and Nkosi Tafari. I'm glad, by the way, he didn't play with his nose ring.
Dude, in just like 4 minutes, he was a problem on the back line for both on our corner kicks and for Club America. I really like this kid, Nkosi Tafari. He's 6'4". He's huge out there, and he can absolutely get up. He's going to give us a threat in the box. Really looking forward to seeing him. And real quick, I do want to mention some of those names that Philly mentioned, obviously not part of our senior roster. Guys like Adam Saldana, Kenny Nielsen, DeCarlo Guerra, Matt Evans. But Adam Saldana, that was the guy who got a little bit of playing time. And so when we get to him, we're going to talk about him just a little bit. Notice how Philly did not mention a couple of other names. We know why Kike Oliveira was not in there. Marlon has been nursing an injury, maybe a little bit away still, maybe 2 weeks or so from what we hear from getting back to playing. Luca Bombino, I don't know where Luca Bombino was, but hopefully he'll get out there and get some run. Jude Terry is with the U.S. under-17s.
Oh, my God. What a butt whooping.
He was part of the 22-0 win over the U.S. Virgin Islands. Jude Terry had 2 goals and 2 assists for the U.S. youth national team in that.
Best thing that I heard about that result, 22-0, U.S. versus U.S. Virgin Islands, was the back of the net for the U.S. Islands are definitely not virgins after 22 shots.
Geez, right? That was a lot. And then another name, obviously, Odin Thiago Holm has been hurt, but Maxime Chanot. And I asked about it in the press conference, and basically what Steve said was that after today, Maxime Chanot would be elevated back to the roster, and he is healthy again. So that was really good to see because I would like to see Maxime Chanot a little bit out there a little bit more. But, we'll see what happens. So those are those couple of names that we wanted to make sure that we mentioned.
Cool. So we've already kind of alluded to the score line, nothing within the first half. The game ended 2-1. Every single goal that was scored, every single one, off of careless turnovers.
Yeah.
And the one that was by far the worst, though, was the one that Igor Jesus let in. You want to talk about a bad goal? You find yourself in a prickly position, getting attacked under duress in your own defensive end of the pitch, gave that one away, led to the Club America goal that you said blew the roof off of the joint. Just careless turnover after careless turnover is what resulted. I mean, that's really the theme of the game. And as I mentioned, best thing Olivier Giroud did was just get out of the way, allow the through ball from Denis Bouanga on that incredible counter in the pass to Nathan Ordaz. Denis Bouanga looked solid, of course, playing defense, doing his thing, scoring goals and assisting. I mean, he led the team in both categories last season. I can't imagine he's going to slow down this year.
No, you're absolutely right. Look, let's talk about this real quick too. The only substitution made at the half was David Martinez coming off the pitch for Nathan Ordaz. And look, I think Steve kind of said it without saying it. It was not a good half for David Martinez. He did not show himself well in terms of taking over that starting spot that was usually Kike Oliveira or Matty Bogusz. And yet on came Nathan Ordaz. And I think, Philly, what you and I decided was the second half highlight was Nathan Ordaz and the way he played for LAFC.
Yeah, no, he played a great game. You got to ask him a question. I don't think I asked. Did I ask any questions last night? I don't remember if I did.
You asked one question last night. It was
I think it's just Steve. Yeah. You were the one that was more consistent about it. And yes, congrats. It looks like Pico Rivera is going to be getting a USL team. Pretty darn cool. Antelope Valley getting started up. Your Scarlet's new favorite club, Santa Barbara. Anyways, I digress. His intestinal fortitude, man, and it's something he never lacked. The kid always had the courage to take the shot, take the big shot, and he's really filled out, man. Like, you can tell he's been working really hard. Yeah. You can tell like we were watching him as a child hit his growth spurt, but like now he's starting to put a little meat on his bones. So you could tell he hit the gym hard because well, as he said in the press conference, I want to be that dude, which I think was probably the most quotable thing we heard all of last night.
Yeah, real quick, that Pico Rivera thing, it's still a little ways down. I was just looking at that. Anyways, sorry, squirrel. Look, you mentioned...
I'm surprised my phone's dead.
We already talked about the Denis Bouanga goal. Actually, we didn't really talk about it. Let's talk about the two goals for us real quick. The first of which, Denis Bouanga just keeps putting pressure. And the soft back pass to the keeper gets intercepted by Denis Bouanga. He takes a touch and slots it with the left foot to the right of the keeper. Goal, 30 seconds into the half. A lot of people missed it. Great. But your line was completely accurate, Philly, that the best thing that Olivier Giroud did all night, other than not get injured and stay on side for most of the match, which I appreciate. Thank you, Olivier. You mentioned it. He played a false nine role for us in the goal. Philly, why don't you talk about that second goal where we go up 2-0 at the 60-minute mark?
Yeah, Denis Bouanga takes it, goes on the counter, and just has a nice pass. And I don't know if it was a purposeful. I have to go back to watch the replay and dissect it a little more thoroughly.
It was absolutely a purposeful.
Okay, well, I maybe he just wasn't in the right position because, as you know, Olivier's never been in the right position since he's put on a black and gold kit. You called for his head so many times, like, Olivier, you're a pro. How are you always offside? Yeah, exactly, Mikey. He played. And I think that's just kind of the general sentiment that we all have. I hate to say it, I really do think we're seeing like the decline of a once great player. It's not that he's not talented. I just don't think he has it anymore. I don't want to say that his final season with AC Milan was an anomaly because, look, he was top 10 scoring and assists, but I don't know. I mean, he didn't even look that great in preseason. So he did score a goal, granted. I'll give him that, a couple weeks ago. But
yeah, look, Giroud had 2 goals this preseason, so we'll see. I don't know. I hope you're wrong, but
but look who he scored. Like, if he would have done that against a club like Club America, and by the way, like they're 6 games into the season, they're on top of the table for the Clausura. Like this is a team that obviously that no Henry Martin, he didn't compete. So there were some key players on the squad that didn't feature. And yeah, I think there was another comment here. Yeah, Mikey in the chat. Yeah, Mikey, you're chiming in with a lot of good stuff. A lot of depth that they had, but all things considered, we did look like we were a team looking to shake off that offseason rust, competing against a team that's 6 games in. By no means did it seem like a friendly because both teams were highly competitive with one another. In fact, there were plenty of times where things got a bit physical. Yeah. But the fact that we came out with a win, pretty darn cool. And look, this is the 3rd time we played these guys. We beat them 3-1 in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, as we all remember. We saw them at SoFi for the friendly where that game went 0-0 and they beat us 6-5 in a shootout. So now we're 2-0-1 against Liga MX Giants. And yeah. And I'm pretty stellar, I would say. That's not bad.
And I think that the measuring stick really was that first half performance against what is mainly their starters. But yet when they took out, I think they took out 8 guys at the half. I don't know that they took out 9, but either way, we're talking about massive substitutions because it's a friendly. All we did was play better in the second half than we did in the first, which I think is massive, as we have not yet played, obviously, a game that matters, and they are 6 matches in to their regular season. Great goal by Nathan Ordaz. Great goal by Denis Bawanga. As great as those goals were, what we saw was a 21-year-old midfielder trying to do way too damn much with the ball in his own box. Igor Jesus, who is wearing the number 6, which is a big deal for a 21-year-old midfielder who has never been to America before. There is so much for him to adjust to, and we're giving him the reins as the 6. He looked great for most of the match. And then for a little bit, he played like a 21-year-old who needs a little bit more seasoning in terms of playing the 6. And it was an awful giveaway in the 63rd minute. Richard Sanchez slots it home. The place goes absolutely bonkers. No other goals would be scored. But the thing that I do want to mention again, Olivier Giroud played 75 minutes before Jeremy Abobasi came on in the 75th minute. And Eddie Segura played 87 minutes, 62 of those on a yellow card, 25-minute yellow card. Eddie Segura, do better. Please do better. But
it was rough goings with him in the beginning of the game, man. I will say that.
It really was rough goings. But Eddie played into the game much better. He had a couple of those through balls that looked really nice. And Kosei Tafari comes on for Eddie Segura. And at the 87-minute mark, Adam Saldana comes on for Marky Delgado, one former Galaxy player coming on for another, because this is the same Adam Saldana, 23 years old, from Panorama City, who was formerly a Galaxy product and played 18 games for the Galaxy in 2021, 2 games for the Galaxy in 2022, and was on their roster but did not play for them in 2023. So interesting that we could be bringing in, at least for depth purposes, another player who once played for Carson.
And the hits just keep on coming.
The only other moment, Philly, that I want to talk about is Nathan Ordaz rocketing that ball into the stands as time expired, getting into a little bit of a chippy scrum with a couple players from Club America. But
talk about chippy scrum. I mean, you saw the videos, and heck, we saw it ourselves. The Club America fans fighting each other, and of course, at the end of the game, once the result didn't, pan out that way, we saw an awful lot of beers getting thrown onto the pitch from the south end. Quite a few up from section 200 down. Excuse me, down as well. I didn't see anybody get hit, but I guess the only thing I have to ask, y'all already know my take on that, but why waste a perfectly good beer? I think that's a simple question to ask.
Yeah, and look, I could be old man, get off my lawn about this, but I would rather die on this hill than any other. I'm kind of disappointed that the game wasn't stopped at least once when the chant came out of the south end after a goal kick.
We didn't really hear it all that much, though. I will say that. There was the one audible time, but I don't know. Maybe because I was paying. I don't know. I really didn't hear it much after the first time that happened.
Yeah, I heard it at least twice. I just have a problem with it in general. Obviously, I get that, people are on both sides of the fence on that one. I just know what side of the fence I'll always wind up on. I don't think that chant has a place in sports. But that being said, I was kind of bummed that nothing was even said. There wasn't even like a message over the Jumbotron or anything like that. But whatever. It is what it is. The other thing I want to mention, Philly, anybody else love Hugo Lloris's like ombre yellow goalie kit? Like, I really liked that kit.
I liked the save that he made in the second half a little more than the kid.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Hugo played very, very. Look, if we can't just set Hugo back there and not have to worry all season, we're kind of screwed. But that kit, can we please, LAFC HQ, can we get some short-sleeved keeper kits, please? Please, please, please.
I'm looking to see if they have any.
By
the way, bummer. The Tan 2024 Archive Authentic still 159. I may end up sprouting money on this on the black BMO kit. That one I like. If y'all really are feeling the smokescreen kit and didn't get it, apparently the MLS store has it for $28, which goes to show you how much it sells because it's $28.
Well, they're also trying to get rid of it.
But I mean, look, the first season kit they have it here too, and it's more than that one is.
Philly, we're 10 days away from a game that matters at BMO. We are 6 days away from a game that matters for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. February 18th, 7 p.m., a mile high in beautiful Commerce City, Colorado, a town that you and I have had the pleasure of looking around and going, where the hell is everybody at?
That John Denver's full of ish, man.
Commerce City, Colorado. LAFC takes on the Colorado Rapids in the first of two legs of the first round. That's only in 6 days, Philly. 6 days. I can't wait, man. Can't wait.
I guess I feel like I can because the season just feels like it still ended for me. I've just been go, man. I'm beaten. I'm going to tell you all this. And if he's in the chat, I'm telling him now, like, I'm not going to be on every single episode for the first part of the season. I'm just going to let you all know that right away. So I got a lot going on with college baseball, college basketball, like a whole bunch of things, indoor soccer playoffs. Our buddy, Chris Lafferty. There you are, buddy. If you didn't know this, you know this now. There'll be plenty of times where you'll get to see this man's name and this man's image inside of the box right next to Scarf. I don't know which games I will be at and which games I won't. I won't know for sure until May because that's when college baseball is done. But I can tell you, sadly, I won't be at the home opener. This will be the first home opener I've ever missed. I've got college basketball to call.
Yeah.
And so defenders, just so you all know this right off the bat, there's going to be a lot of where the hell's Philly questions. Lafferty is going to be my proxy. And obviously he's going to be helping us out a lot, which we really appreciate. He's been on several episodes. So when Lafferty's here, chat, give him all the hell that you possibly can. I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. And it's going to be kind of a fun season. It's season 8 of Defenders. You may see some other special guests throughout the year as well. Hoping to do some interviews. We haven't done any of those in a couple of years now. We're going to try to get back to that as well. But yeah, Lafferty will be on a bunch of episodes. We'll have a couple of other people. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's for sure. We got a lot to talk about this season, you guys. Season number 8 for LAFC and Defenders of the Bank. And we do want to mention, it looks as if, right, Philly, that the night after a match at 9:00 is when you will be able to catch the Defenders. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Wait, hold on. Can you just say that one more time?
Yeah. The night after a match at 9 p.m. That's
no way. No way.
What just happened there?
I went all Groucho Marx because I don't believe you. I mean, I had a cigar right now. Come to think,
isn't that what you and I talked about? Where did you get those, by the way? What just happened?
I went Groucho Marx on you.
I see that.
I don't know where. Honestly, I don't even know why I bought these. As I was looking to clean up the space, I found these. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. All right, y'all. You have suffered / celebrated with us for over an hour now. We cannot wait to get season 8 fully underway in just 6 days. CONCACAF Champions Cup against Colorado Rapids. The first leg will be at their house. The second leg just 7 days later at BMO. And in between that, we get to kick off the MLS season on February 22nd against Minnesota United. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's no more Pookie party going on in Minnesota. They are
about that. Ooh, I wonder what Pookie's jersey's going for.
Yeah, fully rebuilt. It's going to be a lot of fun. Lafferty guarantees no Hello Kitty. Either way, we love you guys. Welcome back to season number 8. Thank you guys all for your support. Don't forget, please head to defendersofthebank.com, click on the shop, and enter in the code DEFENDERS20 for 20% off anything. And we want to also mention, if you go to 500level.com, it should also work on any apparel on 500level.com. They do all kinds of sports, all kinds of teams, all kinds of leagues. Gomez, you got to check out the beginning of the episode. I talk all about it. Don't worry. So please head on over to 500level.com or head on over to defendersofthebank.com. Click on either shop and shop away with Defenders 20. If it doesn't work, hit me up directly because I will figure that out for you. Please like, subscribe, tell a friend, and Philly, let's roll with season 8, baby.
I was just trying to pull up the website so I could share the screen. I guess I'll do that next time. What are we doing? Sorry.
We're saying bye-bye.
Oh, bye. And I'll see you all for the CONCACAF replay, the 19th. I won't see you all for the 22nd, but I'll see you around. Philly will be here and there. I love you all. And again, thank you so much for supporting Defenders of the Bank. Scar, by the way, you really got to update the website. I just got somebody ask me about that the other day. But anyway, that's an offline conversation. Yes. Bye.
Bye-bye.